Assalamualaikum students. So far we talked about Newton's first law. Let's try to understand Newton's second law. Newton's first law was for scenarios where net force is equal to zero. That means Newton's first law basically talked about uniform motion. It spoke nothing about non-uniform motion. It only told that object at rest will try to be at rest and object at uniform motion will try to be at uniform motion until and unless we apply some external force on it. So now in Newton's second law, it is for scenarios with net force not equal to zero. That means here some external force is applied on the body, right? You are clear with the fact that in the first law we were only talking about uniform motion. So now we will talk about a general scenario where there is an external force also acting on the body. Now before we start with Newton's second law of motion, we should know what is momentum. So momentum is again a new term for you. It's a new quantity which is going to get introduced. So let's see what is momentum. Momentum is the product of mass of a body and its velocity. Quite simple, right? Let's suppose if you have an object of mass m which is moving with velocity v, then we say that the momentum of an object is equal to mass of body into velocity of body, that is mv, right? And momentum is a vector quantity because it has both magnitude and direction. So that's quite obvious also, because if momentum is product of mass and velocity, velocity itself is a vector quantity, so momentum should also be a vector quantity, right? And it's generally denoted by small p, and momentum small p is equal to m into v, mass into velocity. Now let's look at this example of momentum. Let's suppose if you have a ball of mass 1 kg moving with a velocity of 10 meter per second, then what is the momentum of this object? It will be m into v, that is 1 kg into 10 meter per second, and that will be 10 kg meter per second, right? So when I talk about the units of momentum, it's simple. For mass, unit is kg, and for velocity, unit is meter per second. So for momentum, unit will be kg meter per second. This is the SI unit of momentum. So now let's try to look at the dependency of force on mass. How is force dependent on mass? Now why are we studying this dependency? Because now I introduced momentum. Because why I introduced momentum? Because it played a role in Newton's second law of motion. In second law of motion, Newton basically told that there exists a relationship between force and momentum. So if we want to see that relationship between force and momentum, so in order to see that, what are the two quantities on which momentum is dependent? As momentum is product of mass and velocity, so it means it's dependent on mass and velocity. So we have to see the dependency of force on mass, and then again we will see the dependency of force on velocity. So that is the dependency of force on momentum. Okay, so let's look at the dependency of force on mass scenario first. That is force required to push object with same velocity. Let's suppose you have two different objects, the two kids. In first case, you see mass of object is quite greater, so the object is heavier, the mass is more. So in this case, amount of force that's required to be given to this object so that both of the object move with same velocity. It's like if you have, suppose you are having a heavy stone and a very small stone, and the amount of force that needs to be given to stone so that both move with the same velocity. So how much force you have to apply? If the object is huge, you will have to apply more force. So in above case, because object is heavy, so the force required to push this heavier mass is greater the force required to move the smaller mass, right? So greater the mass, greater is the force required to start its motion. So what is the conclusion here? Greater force is required to set heavier bodies in motion. Okay, now let's look at the dependency of force on change in velocity. How does force change with the change in velocity? Here, if you see how you have two cars of same mass. In the first case, the vehicle comes with an extremely high speed. So velocity of vehicle is higher here, okay? So the amount of force that's needed to stop this vehicle is more. But in the second case, the vehicle is coming with quite slowly. So the amount of force that is needed to stop this second vehicle will be less. So what is the conclusion? Greater force is required to stop bodies moving with higher velocities. So that means if the object has greater mass, greater force is required. If the object is moving with higher velocity, greater force is required, right? So from this, what do we conclude? We can say that force changes as the mass changes. Force also changes as the velocity changes. So we can say that force will change as the momentum changes. So we can say that greater the change in momentum in a given time, greater is the force that needs to be applied, right? So how can we say this? We saw that momentum is the product of mass and velocity. And what we saw in previous two slides, greater mass, greater force is required. Again, greater velocity, greater force is required. This is what we saw. So now let's suppose you have some object which has mass m and velocity v. What is the momentum of this object? It's mv, right? Now let us suppose the same object. After some time, its mass increases and now its mass is m dash. And velocity also increases and it's v dash. So what will be the momentum? P dash momentum is equal to m dash into v dash. So what is the change in momentum here? That is p dash minus p. Change in momentum, delta p is change in momentum, that is equal to p dash minus p, that is m dash v minus mv. So now we saw that as mass increases, force increases. As velocity increases, force again increases. So we can say that force is directly proportional to mass and force is directly proportional to change in velocity. So from this we can say that force is directly proportional to the change in momentum, because force is proportional to mass as well as on velocity. And mass and velocity gives momentum. So we can say that greater the change in momentum, greater is the force that needs to be applied. That is why this statement has given here that greater the change in momentum in a given time, greater is the force that needs to be applied, right? Now let's look at the practical example of this change in momentum. While seeing a cricket match, have you ever observed the way a player catches the ball? Now, say batsman or somebody has thrown the ball with a very high speed. Now, what happens? There are two scenarios. In the first case, I have taken Dhoni, who is an experienced and expert player, and Roni is somebody who doesn't know how to play well. So, what happens in the first case? When it's Ronnie, how will he catch the ball? The ball is coming with high speed and he's just keeping his arms like stationary. So the ball which is coming with very high velocity, high speed falls on his hands and his hands get hurt because the ball is coming with high velocity. But in the second case, when Dhoni catches the ball, what does he do? When the ball comes, you would have observed this in fact when you watch a cricket match. The player always will make his hands also move along with the ball. With that, what will happen? They are actually making their hands also move. And as a result, the force which is required to change the momentum is given by hand. So when your hand also moves, you are actually not hurting yourself. Okay? Because in the first case, what's happening? The change in momentum is more. So the amount of force being exerted on your hand is also more. But in second case, since you are also moving your hand, the change in momentum, because hand is also moving with some velocity and ball is also moving with some velocity, so the change in momentum in this case is less. As a result, the force which is required in this case is also lesser, and due to which the player is not hurt. You understood? So in first case, change in momentum is more because the ball is moving with some velocity v and hand is stationary, that is v is equal to 0. But in second case, ball is moving with some velocity v, the hand is also moving with some velocity, say v dash. So the change in momentum here is less. As a result, lesser force is required to stop the ball and therefore the hand is not hurt. So these are some of the things which happen in our day-to-day life. Even a cricketer who does this technique to catch a ball, I'm not sure if you know the funda of momentum or not. So there are so many things which keep happening around us in our day-to-day life, but we are not aware of the concept behind this. Okay, so with this you got fair idea of momentum. What is momentum? It is the product of mass and velocity, and the force and momentum are very closely related. As the change in momentum increases, force also increases.